Hi everyone, Tim is here. In this video we are going to look at this wonderful study by an unknown author. In this position, white has a rook and a pawn against a bishop. At first glance, this material balance looks very favorable for us, but the problem is simple. If we lose our only pawn, we can no longer win, because rook versus bishop is a completely drawn endgame. So we must find a way either to promote the pawn, or possibly win black's bishop. It's white to move and the goal is to win. If you want to solve it yourself, pause the video, and before I show you the correct answer, I want to remind you that solving studies like this increases your chances of finding the only winning move in real games. So make sure to subscribe. Alright, let's start. What should white play first? You might think that since the black king attacks our pawn, we need to defend it. For example, rook f6 looks very natural. We sacrifice the rook, but white cannot take it, because we simply promote to a queen. However, the problem is that black doesn't have to take our rook. They can just play king f8, blocking the pawn, and on the next move they play bishop d5, winning the pawn. And if we try stop bishop d5 by playing rook f5, then black just gives a check with bishop a6, and after our king moves, the bishop comes to c4, the pawn falls, and the result is only a draw. Alright, let's go back. Maybe we can defend the pawn with rook h7. The idea is that we are threatening to promote the pawn and win the bishop on b7, which is placed very bad, and black cannot block the pawn with king f8, because then we have rook h8 check, and after any king move, the pawn promotes. And if black captures the pawn, we return the rook to h7 and win the bishop. But even here black survives. They simply play bishop d5, attacking the pawn. Now there is no discovered attack on the bishop anymore, and black just takes our pawn next move. Again, it's only a draw. So we see that defending this pawn doesn't help, but there is also a tempting move rook h8. We still use the same idea. Black cannot take the pawn because of rook h7, and we also prevent the king from going on f8. It seems the pawn will promote on the next move, and we win. But black has a strong resource, bishop a6 check. The bishop escapes the 7th rank with tempo. After the king moves, black calmly captures the pawn on f7, and now rook h7 does nothing. The bishop is no longer on b7, so we can't win it. Okay, what else can we try? Moving the king to f2 to avoid the check on a6 doesn't work either. After king f2, black plays bishop d5 and simply takes our pawn. So let's go straight to the correct solution. White must notice an amazing zugzwang idea and play the brilliant move rook d6. At first sight it looks absurd, but it's the only winning move. Let's see what black can do. First, what if they take the rook? Then their king no longer controls the promotion square and we promote to a queen with check. What if they take the pawn? Again, we use the bad placement of the bishop on b7 and play rook d7, forking the king and the bishop. And for the same reason, black cannot play king f8, because then we simply play rook d8 and the result is the same, promotion or a fork. So after rook d6, black cannot move the king at all. They are forced to move the bishop. So where can the bishop go? If it moves to the 8th rank, bishop a8 or bishop c8, we sacrifice the pawn on f8 and then give a double attack on the king and the bishop. Now let's look at the other bishop moves. Bishop e4, bishop f3 and bishop h1. If black plays bishop e4, white has a beautiful reply, rook e6, another brilliant rook sacrifice. If black takes the pawn, we take the bishop. If they take the rook, we promote to a queen. If the bishop goes to f3, the idea is the same. We play brilliant rook f6, attacking the bishop and defending the pawn. If black takes the rook, we promote and win the bishop next. If they don't take, we either promote with check or take the bishop. And the final and most interesting move, bishop h1. Now it looks like black has no problems. They want to take our pawn next move, but here white plays king g1 and black is once again in zugzwang. If they take the pawn, we take the bishop. If they take the rook, the pawn promotes, and any bishop move loses. All the lines we already analyzed. So that's the study. It's small but very beautiful in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. See you next time.